Shalom everyone and Shavua Tov, and here today we're going to study Parashat Mikkets, Genesis chapter 41 verse 1. ויהי מקץ שנתיים ימים ופרעה חולם והנה עומד על היאור. And at the end of 2 years, Pharaoh is dreaming and he's standing on the Nile. One of the most famous dreams in history of humanity. So Pharaoh is dreaming and he sees 7 fat cows coming out from the Nile, very nice looking, and they're in the pasture, and then 7 other cows coming also, but they're very, very bad looking, very skinny, and the skinny cows eat the fat cows, and so on. I won't go on with that. It's a very famous story. And now what is the context and how is that connected to the days we are going through right now? So the previous parasha, we got the beginning of the story of Joseph, his amazing miraculous story. Joseph is 17 years old and he's with his father. That's how the story starts, and with his family, and his brothers don't like him, kind of, and they go there with the sheep, and the father is sending Jacob, is sending Joseph to Shechem to look for the brothers to see what's going on with them. So Joseph comes to see the brothers, and the moment they see him coming, they say he's the same guy with the dreams. Let's kill him and see what happens with his dreams. Seems to be they don't like him so much. As we said, they want to get rid of him. They say, look, we had something like this with Ishmael, with Esau. Now it's too late. From Joseph, it's going to be the same story again. Let's kill him before we get into trouble. That's their thinking. Of course, they made a big mistake. However, this is what they were thinking about. Now, Joseph is being sold to the Egyptians, and over there, Potiphar buys him as a slave. And over there, by Potiphar, Joseph is really successful, so successful that it looks like whatever he's doing, it looks like it's God making it successful, which means it's not in the level of a smart human being. It looks like through his actions that it's God doing that success, because that's beyond imagination. Okay, this is the story of Joseph. However, Joseph is reaching the top of his power at running the business of Potiphar, one of the strongest people in Egypt, economically, politically, and so on. And then the wife of Potiphar, she wants Joseph. She tells him, come to my bed. And he says, how could I do that? It's like he's coming with all kinds of ideas, but the most important thing is that's not the way he was brought up by his father. He doesn't say to her, that not as the Torah is saying, but say, how could I be so dishonest to your husband who did so much for me? So here we go. Finally, she waits. She's ambushing him. A time and a day, nobody's around, and she gets him to her bed. And she's the master. She owns him. He is a slave, has no rights whatsoever. However, he runs away, and she blames him that he tried to rape her. The result that he's going to jail. So this is the background. Okay, now Joseph is in jail for 10 years. And 10 years after he got into jail, and also in jail, Joseph is really taking every responsibility possible. And the result is that the person who's responsible for the jail, he's simply having a good time. He lets Joseph run the jail. Okay, so Joseph does it because we spoke about it last week because the spirit of Joseph, the idea of Joseph, and remember, whatever we learn in the book of Genesis, we're not talking about individuals, private individuals. Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka, and Jacob and the whole family. We are talking about, as when we study Kabbalah, we are talking about different aspects inside each one of us. And the book of Bereshit, Genesis, is teaching us how to develop those aspects because we cannot really win this game if we do not develop properly those aspects of our soul. And we spoke about Abraham and Sarah. This is the aspect of chesed, loving kindness. And the story of Isaac and Rivka, it's about discipline, about boundaries, about overcoming issues. And the story of Jacob is the ability to synthesize both ideas, Abraham and Isaac, the kindness and love together with judgment and boundaries, discipline, the power to overcome. These two together, when you bind them together, synthesize them together, you get what is called the central column. We're going to talk about it today too. And that is basically the highest level of spirituality, which means to be at the same time a person of loving and kindness, and at the same time to know how to put the boundaries and have discipline. Okay, without too much criticism and too much fury around. Now, Joseph, we said in the beginning of last week's parasha, where it says, Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef, these are the fruits of Jacob. Joseph is 17 years old. So we know that Yaakov Yosef, Joseph is kind of continuation. And if we look at the tree of life, we see that if Jacob is the chariot in this physical reality of Sefirat Tiferet in the tree of life, again, the Sephirah of the synthesis of Chesed and Gevurah, loving kindness and judgment, and Jacob is the central column. Now, if you look at the tree of life, you will see that Joseph, which is the chariot of Sefirat Yesod, is just right underneath Jacob. What does it mean? This is a manifestation. These are the fruits, these are the outcomes, these are the results. Which means Joseph is representing, or is the chariot. What does it mean, a chariot? Chariot comes from, in English, comes from the French word charrette, which means to compose, to bring together. Same word in Hebrew, merkava. Merkava means to bring together. It is a chariot, okay? But it means in Hebrew both, like to bring together. Bringing together what? Human consciousness with godly illumination, which means the 10 Sephirot, the 10 emanations, illuminations of the tree of life, they basically represent 10 emanations from the endless. We humans, we cannot connect to an infinite power directly because we are finite creatures. So we need our means of communication. These are the Sephirot. Basically, like the same way we cannot connect directly to the main power station, that could be very uncomfortable. Okay, so that's why we have transformers that basically tone down the intensity of the light, of the power, so it fits us and we can deal with that. We can simply consume that light according to the law of affinity, that affinity, which means similarities attract. So when we're talking about Yosef, which is Sefirat Yesod, which is, if Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are the upper triangle in Sefirat Zeranpin, The lower triangle, the central column, this is Joseph. And this is also the Sephirah of Yesod. Tzaddik, Yesod, Olam. Tzaddik is the foundation of the world. What does it mean? When we look in the tree of life at the position of Sephirat Yesod, we realize that the Sephirat Yesod is located in the most crucial point in the whole tree of life. That point is a point that basically funnels all the bliss from all the tree of life, all the upper Sephirot, Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, N to Malchut. Yesod is what brings all the light, brings it together and funneling it into Malchut, which means our connection to Yesod is detrimental. It is crucial because our ability to connect to Yesod, our ability to revive, connect, build up the Yesod within each one of us, this is what determines our relationship with the upper world. This is what determines bliss. What does it mean? Success. If we feel that we are stuck, that we are blocked, and there's no flow of bliss, success, we don't have good fortune, good luck. It's all because there is a blockage in Sephirat Yesod. The moment Sephirat Yesod is blocked, then the whole tree of life cannot funnel its light and life force into our level, which is Malchut, the bottom level. So the more we understand Joseph, the more we understand how to unstuck, how to unblock the flow of everything good in our lives. And that's why we really need to understand Joseph. Joseph, the name Yosef, is coming from the shoresh le'esof, to collect, to assemble, which means the same way Sephirat Yesod is assembling, collecting all the emanations of the upper Sephirot, and it brings it down to Malchut for fruition. For, you can have great ideas really outside the box. However, there's no manifestation. There's no physical manifestation, which means things don't go. Things are stuck. No money comes in. The business is stuck. All of that stuff, that is Yesod issue, Yosef. So what do we learn from Yosef? We learn in a previous parasha that Yosef is simply doing the best he can in every situation possible. He is a slave in Potiphar's home. He is in the bottom of the ladder of any human being living in Egypt. However, he climbs up the level not because somebody supported him or because he was somebody's relative. We are talking about a person that simply, instead of waiting for good fortune to fall from above or buying lottery tickets, he is simply doing whatever he can, whatever he is responsible for, in the utmost productivity possible, because he is that person which is called tzaddik. Now, tzaddik can be translated into English, like usually, as a righteous person. And one of the most amazing explanations of what tzaddik means in Hebrew, shematzdik et kono. What does it mean, righteous? Whatever happens to him, he knows this is from God and this is right. This has to happen. Whatever happened to me, let's say that my brain, my logic says that's not fair. That should not happen to me. Should happen, which means, oh, it should happen to other people. Yeah, there are a lot of people worse than I am, and things terrible like they happen to me they don't happen to them. What is it? The moment you ask this question, you are far away from Sfirat Yesod, you're far away from the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the person that says, whatever happened, that's right. It was right, was supposed to happen. I don't see the whole picture. However, I know it's the right thing. The moment I say that, why is that connected to productivity? Because the moment I say that, I put aside all doubts, all thinking that is basically, like obsessive thoughts about I was wronged. Things are not right. That was not supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be somewhere else. Those obsessive thoughts, they drain our energy, they drain our powers, they make us so small, and because of that, we miss the gate, we miss the train, we miss when good luck, good fortune visits us. We miss that because that thing of being busy with it's unfair, that is basically the biggest blockage of a human life, because that leads to fear, anger, trauma, all of those emotions that basically deprive us from our powers that we have. We are born with them, but could be that we never reveal them, we never reach them because it's all blocked. How do we know that about Joseph? If Joseph is a Hebrew slave at Potiphar's home, and Potiphar sees that whatever he's doing, God is making it successful, we understand that whatever Joseph did was magically successful, out of this world, out of the box. It was visible, and whoever, like Potiphar, was really a person of greatness. We realize he got to that position not because his father or his aunt that somehow got him the job, just because he was a person that is working hard, and his wits and his talent and his productivity got him to become one of the most powerful people in Egypt. A person like this, it takes one to know one. Because he was a person like this, he realized that the success of Joseph, whatever he was doing in his household, he realized that was beyond logic. Whatever Joseph was doing, he realized that a person like this should be doing much more because he is a tzaddik. What does it mean? Instead of draining ourselves by saying it's not fair, whatever happened to me, why didn't it happen to somebody else, whatever, all of this OCD stuff, this is obsessive compulsive thoughts that drain us. Everybody has that problem. The point is, how do we connect to that frequency of Yosef? Is simply, if that's where I am, this is right. And because it is right, this is where God wants me to be. And therefore, this is where my tikkun lies, which means my calling, my opportunity, my good fortune. It's here in front of me always, wherever I am. And therefore, I'm simply free to focus on what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. But, I'm supposed to be the president. And they gave me the job of a janitor. That's not fair. Yes, this is the problem. The moment you say, and probably that Joseph, when his first job at Potiphar's place was something that janitors do. And he did it magically. Why? Again, some people, whatever job you're going to give them, people who are connected to Yesod, people who are really tzaddikim, righteous, they say, if this is the job that I got, I'll do my best. And when you do your best, God does the rest. So whatever you're going to do will be productive, will be out of the box, you'll be in the zone most of the time because you look at it as this is the best possible, and because of that, I'll do it the best I can. If you don't do that, you miss the gate to connect to Yesod. And when you miss the gate to connect to Yesod, you're somewhere else, but you're in the wrong place. What does it mean? Yesod is the gate to the tree of life. Yesod is the gate for life. It's the gate for success, well-being, anything that is good. The moment I'm busy, what's wrong? I miss the gate. What am I doing? I don't know, but I'm doing nothing. It looks like I'm telling myself I'm doing, but I'm doing nothing. Now, Joseph is doing his best and he becomes the person who runs everything in Potiphar's household, business, whatever, you just name it. And because he also did another thing, Sfirat Yosod has a direct connection to fruits, and therefore it has a direct connection also to sexual desires, because when a person is feeling a lot of positive energies, healthy and productive, whatever, that part, which is the sexual organ, is connected to your soul. So that part is also getting excited. And that's why you see a lot of people that are very successful, that's their downfall. They fall in that place. Because this is another point in which you bring down Yesod energy, the tree of life energy, to this world. However, if you do it without restraint, you let those powerful energy, to control you without restraint, without simply values of honesty, dignity, and modesty, which means basically it is again, Sfirat Yesod is a central column, which is again to remind us it's a synthesis between giving and receiving, and doing it within the boundaries of all the rules in a society that has values. You can't just do it with anyone. And the same story is that Joseph says to Potiphar's wife, how could I do it with you? He doesn't say I don't want you. He says I'm loyal to my master, and that will be a betrayal of first degree. He doesn't say also that's not how I was upright. That's what was not my upbringing. And therefore, when he refuses and risks everything, and he lost everything, from being the guy who's CEO of Potiphar's life, he goes even worse. We said he was in the bottom. No, there was lower than that. He's now the janitor in jail. That's worse. In the pit, it says bo, pit. And what is he doing in the pit? Is he in post-trauma? What does it mean post-trauma? That was not supposed to happen to me. How could that happen to me? Where is justice? Where was God when? Logically, you're right, but you're not righteous. Logically, you miss the gate. Whatever happens to us happens for a reason. Whatever happens to us, if you look at the story of Joseph in this parasha, Joseph is being thrown into the pit. We're not talking about the jail according to all human rights according to the 21st century. That was a jail in Egypt, in the ancient world. If you saw movies, you see like old skeletons, going with a... This was a poor, terrible place. And Joseph is simply saying, that's where I am, that's right, that's where I'm supposed to be, and that's my calling. And he finds what to do, and soon enough, the master of the jail is unemployed because Joseph does everything. What can I do for you? Anybody who saw the movie Shawshank Redemption, it's so similar, but different ending. Different ending. The ending over here, that Joseph is not trying to run away. He's there for 10 years and he's doing his best to run the place, and he's never asking, where are my dreams? Where is my father? He says, wherever I am, this is right. That's where I'm supposed to be. I will do the best I can. See what happens. And there, on the 10 years after Joseph is in jail, there are the dreams of the two of Pharaoh's main helpers, the closest to his ears. One is Sar HaMashkim, the wine steward, but it says in Hebrew it's Sar, the minister. They're the two people that, in the ancient world, one of the ways to change the office, they didn't have democratic elections. You simply, either you poison the king or you killed him with a knife or something like this, and then somebody else took over. So the people who gave the drinks and the food to the king were the people the king trusted the most. They were those people, their mouth was the closest to the king's ears, which means they were the funnel to the king's brain and thinking. So they were very powerful people. And it says that these two people in one day got Pharaoh upset, and he threw them into the jail. And in jail, who takes care of them? Joseph. And they had a dream. Each one of them has its own dream. And Joseph interprets a dream, and the way he interprets it, that's what happens. But when he interprets the dream of the wine steward, where in Hebrew it's the minister of the drinks, he tells him, when you get out of here in 3 days and get back to your position, remember me, because I'm here, not because anything I did. Okay? Just get me out of here. Why did Joseph do that? We will see. So then the story goes on, and that's how we start our parasha, to understand where we're standing. And that was 2 years later. And at the end of 2 years, but the word in Hebrew at the end of 2 years could be acharei, could be betom. Why Mikkets? Mikkets is a very, very strong, decisive word about bringing something to its abrupt demise and end. And the Zohar relates to that, and that's how we go into understanding all of these ideas of connecting to Yesod. And Yesod, Yosef HaTzadik, what does it mean to use the word tzaddik? Righteous is always to be thankful. Whatever happens to us, saying, whatever happened to me is right, supposed to happen. Now let me figure out how do I do the best out of it. Was that right? By the end of the story, we realize it was right. How would Joseph, who grew up as a Hebrew in the land of Canaan, being a son of a shepherd? By the way, the Egyptians hated shepherds. They were farmers. Okay, they were land developers. Land developers and shepherds, that doesn't go together. They're enemies. So how would someone from his place, was there an option to go to Egypt and to learn in one of the Ivy Leagues, and people from other countries could come and learn? And if you had a great success at the university, you can get a great job in the government. There was nothing like this. It was they were the elite of Egypt. They were raised to take their offices in the government. For a Hebrew to become a king in such an empire, there was not even an option. So what we see that, but when you look at the picture, Joseph, the only way he could go by himself to Egypt was to be sold as a slave. The only way he could get into Potiphar's home was, okay, and the only way he could later on reach his position is to get out from Potiphar's rule, because he's a slave of Potiphar. When he comes and in this parasha he stands in front of Pharaoh, he's totally disconnected from Potiphar, because after 12 years in jail, Potiphar had no claim for him anymore. So you realize that, and one more thing, when he was working for Potiphar, running his business, and I said it many times, he learned from Potiphar and later on by himself about the way the Egyptian economy is structured. All of these years prepared Joseph to be able at that crucial moment when he's standing in front of Pharaoh, maybe the strongest human being on earth at that time, and be focused, direct, exact, precise, and make an impression that within a very short time, few words, Pharaoh said, "You are the man who is going to run the whole kingdom of Egypt." You understand that means performance in the top. What did Joseph do in jail for 10, 12 years? He basically prepared himself for that moment. Whenever they say, an overnight success, only fools say that. People really understand how this world works? No, that there's no overnight success. There's overnight success after many, many years of training, of effort, of growth, of learning, of developing, of learning how to get out of the box, how to prepare yourself for that great moment when the gates open up and you become the strongest person in the world, just from the pit all the way. How does that happen? Did he play the lottery? No, we're talking about there's a time for everything. So when we train ourselves to be aligned on the same frequency as Sefirat Yesod, then when the time comes, this is the time. This is also the right time. Again, righteous is whatever happens is right, and whatever will happen on the right time. And Joseph knows us. So let's see how the Zohar teaches us about that, because it's all about opportunities. Opportunities are not a matter of randomity. It's a matter of preparation. It's a matter of training. It's a matter of professionality. This is exactly what this parasha is about. And what's the name? The name is Mikkets. Mikkets means putting an end, an abrupt end to darkness. Putting an end to years of darkness, failure, misfortune, all of that. How do you put it? How many people ask this question? How could I put an end to the pain and the misery and the suffering I'm going through for so many years? This is basically the parasha of the whole 5 books of Moses that really answers that and gives us that opportunity. And usually Parashat Mikkets is coming around the time of Hanukkah, which basically is the story. We have here in Hanukkah a nation that is basically in the pit, in a deep pit, in or like sinking in a swamp. The word in Hebrew for Greece, Hellenism, is Yavan, which is the same letters as Yeven HaMetzula. It's like the depth of the swamp, the darkness of all darkness. So, getting out of the darkness into the light, from darkness to light, from, from disaster to salvation, this is what we're talking about. Turning the whole system around. And remember, we learn over here from Joseph, this is not an overnight success. This is something you prepare yourself for. Joseph was trained for that all his life in the home of his father, but that was not the best school. He needed to be at Potiphar's place, home, in order to go through his training and and uh, and growth. And then in jail, he continues to internalize those ideas. As we said, he was not capable of standing in front of Pharaoh a minute earlier. The moment he stood in front of Pharaoh, he was ready, but he was not ready before. And let us see how is that explained to us in the Zohar. Zohar Mikkets, the Zohar starts, verse 1 in Zohar HaSulam of Parashat Mikkets. Rabbi Chia patach v'amar, Rabbi Chia opens and says, and is giving us a quote from the book of Job, chapter 28, verse 3. Ketz sam lachoshech. Parashat Mikkets, the word, the letter M in the beginning, the mi in the beginning, it's an adjective. The real word is ketz, which means at the end of things. Miketz shnatayim yamim, at the end of 2 years, after the story with the wine steward and the baker. And the verse in Job says as follows, Ketz sam lachoshech. He put a demise, an end, an abrupt conclusion to darkness. ולכל תכלית הוא חוקר אבן, אופל וצל מוות. Haika Itmar, that verse that we just said, Ket Sam Lachoshech, to put an end, a real end to darkness. Dayu Ketz Smola, this is the end of the left column. Deushat be'alma ve'shat le'ela ve'kaima kamei kudsha bechu ve'astei ve'katreg al alma והיתמה ולכל תכלית הוא חוקר, לכל עבודוי לאו עינון לתו, אלא לשצעת אדיר ולמעבד כליה בעלמה. This is a very, very strong statement. It says like this, what does it mean to put an end to darkness? We all know what's darkness. We all know darkness is no light. Yeah, there's no light. And God said, let there be light. How much light? Endless light. Whatever came from the Creator is by Himself. This is endless, infinite. Infinite, we are just in a huge, huge ocean of endless light, bliss, and goodness. Everything. Whatever the Creator just emanated to our world is there. No one can eliminate the light. So how come I don't feel that light? Why? By the law of affinity. And we spoke about it last week. Also from the book of Job. Kifo al adam yeshalem lo. The person's actions will come back at him. Which means God, what goes around, comes around. You create negativity and judgment, that will return and you'll have to remove it, transform it, correct it, bring it back to its source. Okay? That means tikkun, correction. That means, okay, you created something unfinished, undone, incomplete, wrong. It's not really wrong. It was done wrong, but the way it was done is wrong, but it's not wrong. Why? Because when you correct it, it becomes right. You know, what someone's mistakes is somebody else's uh, making a living. Most people make a living from other people's disasters, needs, and wrongdoings. If I was doing everything in my business properly by myself, I don't need to hire anyone to do it for me. So when I bring a professional to work for me, it's because I don't know how to do it right. Okay, so that gives a life, a living, sustenance to somebody else. So we have to understand that it's not that things are wrong. It's not that there's no light. Why don't we experience the light? Same thing. You buy a new device, electric device, doesn't work. You push the button, you read the instructions. You call the 1-800 of the company who sells that product, and the first question you're being asked, did you plug it in? So the point is not if there is light, because it's very rare that you buy a new electric device and you plug it in and it doesn't work because there's a power failure in your town. That's the chances for that are slim to none. Very, very rarely. Most places, modern places. So probably why the machine is not working is because it's not plugged in. Why is it that we see that certain aspects in our lives do not function? It's because we are not plugged in by that aspect. And the moment you're not plugged in, what do you experience? Darkness. So why aren't we plugged in? Isn't that the fact that everybody wants to be plugged in? Everybody wants to be fortunate. Everybody wants to be full of bliss. Everybody wants connected to life and life force. Okay, but the question is, do they know how to do that? So what Rabbi Chia is saying, to put an end, a demise, an abrupt end to darkness, you have to understand, what does it mean, darkness? And he says, this is the end, the demise of the left column that is not included in the right column. In simple words, left column is I want, I desire. Right column is I give, I share. They do not contradict each other. They complete each other. Because when we just share unconditional love daily, all the time, we get nothing in return. As Rabbi Ashlag is saying, after a short while, we will be out of gas, out of fuel. The engine will die. We need some fuel. How do we get that fuel? Only when you are aware that there's a law of affinity, as I said before. You want to have fuel. That means excitement, energy, power, whatever you need in order to create success, to be in the zone of like out of the box and making things happen without really understanding them, but simply doing it right. Okay? You need to connect to your soul. How do you do that? Affinity. What is the law of affinity? So if you want to plug it in, physically with the electric device, you take and you plug it in. How do you plug yourself in to the tree of life? The law of affinity. What does it mean? When you vibrate like Joseph, and just again to remind everybody, he took him being sold as a slave, spending years by Potiphar, doing his internship with Potiphar, then being 12 years in jail without complaining. Because what does it mean I complain? I'm saying God was not right. He made a mistake. In my case, he made a mistake. He was not right. So, you're right, but you're dead right. You're not life. Another word for Yesod Yosef Chai. Chai is life. The power of life. What we know in Chinese, Qi. Uh, the energy of life, the life force that flows through things when they are installed properly. That energy is available. We can plug into it when we behave, think, and feel like Joseph. Okay? So, what is darkness? The Zohar says darkness is the left column. What does it mean, left column? Me, myself, I. I was wronged. I was abused. I was a victim. I am not getting what I'm supposed to get. Mean people, vicious people, they did it to me. I have some misfortune. I was born with the wrong family, the wrong era, the wrong this, the wrong. It's whatever they say about that person that has a problem for every solution. Why? Because he's busy with what's wrong. That goes together with selfishness. Selfishness is left column, which means I'm here because I need. God should give me, people should give me. I deserve it. It's entitlement. I'm entitled to be given all of that stuff. When you do that, this is called the left column. Left column means I'm all about getting, taking, receiving. It's all about me. When we are connected to the left column, what's wrong with that? It's not right. The left is not right. Why? We said being connected to Yesod means that you say all the time, thankfully, whatever happens is good. Whatever happens, remember, we start, Joseph is 17 years old. 17, that's the beginning of Parashat Vayeshev. 17 is the number Tov. Tov means good, which means he reached that place to understand. That's why he was exposed to all of these atrocities. Your brothers want to kill you. They throw you into a pit full of snakes and scorpions. They take you out, not to release you, but your brothers, but to sell you as a slave. What's worse than that? Killing somebody. Because when a person is a slave, he's not free. When you're not free, you're dead. For the Joseph, he said, that's good. 17, it's good. And whatever happened, that's good. I'm a slave at Potiphar, it's good. If you don't say it's good and you're not thankful for whatever you have, you can't see the gate of Yesod, and you can't enter the gate and become aligned to Joseph, to his Firat Yesod. How does that happen? Left column. Left column gets you out of Yesod, and now you are in darkness. Just try to have any kind of bliss when you're just busy with your own selfish desires. Focus. I never met happy, selfish people. Never. And it says in the Midrash is saying clearly, הרשעים בחייהם נקראים מתים. Selfish people are dead while they're still alive. Why? Where is life coming from? The good is coming from Yesod. Yesod is Chai. Chai is also the number 18. 18 is basically the Yesod power, because 18 is 3 times 6. 6 is the 6 points of the Star of David, which is a manifestation of the 6 Sefirot that funnel to us all that is good. But you need right column, left column, center column. You need to use loving kindness, but you need also to use in a complete way. That's 6. But you have to completely fix that idea of left column, which means I need, I desire, I should receive, because why am I here for? I'm here so the Creator can give me the bliss He created for me. Why is it that I don't have it already? Oh, you want something, you have to work for it. That's why this world was created imperfect. So we are not here to be perfect, we're here to perfect, to complete, to transform, to correct, to reveal the endless light in the most darkest point. That's our calling, that's our job. Okay? So when we are busy finding what's wrong with reality, with history, with God, with other people, and focusing on that, on what's wrong, focusing on what's wrong is a very dangerous thing. Because that's what we said, there are problems to every solution. Because you're focusing what's wrong. You want to focus on what's right and to get a solution. You have to develop that ability to go always beyond, knowing that the solution is there. That's called hope. But in Hebrew, the word is tikva. The word tikva comes from the Hebrew word kav, line, a line, a line of communication, which means the word kav is being used also for telephone line. Today, there are no physical lines, but still it's called, do you have a line? Okay? Or it's a line of supplies or any kind of flow of energy. This is kav, a line. The word tikva, hope, means that you got back online and now you're connected to that network. But I'm just imagining. If you imagine it and you really believe in that, and you really have faith in that and you trust it, and if no doubt about it, you are online. Because you put the darkness in demise. That's Ketz Sam Lechoshech. That's Mikkets. Because when we connect it to I don't have it, I miss it, it's wrong, whatever. This is the left column, which is also, says the Zohar, Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. And he is there to block, to disconnect, to create all of that, what we call times of trouble. He is blocking the flow. He is kind of talking evil about us, about the world. All his actions are not for good, but always to destroy and bring demise to the world. Which means taking people's souls and killing them. Who does that? The angel of death. Who does that? The left column, which is the same thing. Who does that? The moment we are in that place, because when people are victims, it's very hard for them to help anybody else because they're almost incapable of seeing somebody else's pain. They think the whole world revolves around them. We don't want to be in that place because this is an unlucky place. Very unfortunate. It's simply disconnecting us from the flow. And it's a stumbling block. Stumbling block, the Zohar says. Even negev. Why? Because that's what makes all of selfish people fall. They think being right and making others wrong, and especially the Creator, will get them anything. It just makes it worse. And that brings them into a place of darkness, a place of negativity, a place of basically no life. And therefore, our job is always to get ourselves aligned with Joseph's work and state of mind. The result is, and here comes another thing that is very important, 12 years in jail. So many years before, working for Potiphar. He was a slave and in jail altogether a long time. When people today, they want the success and instant success, they make a big mistake. That's what it says. They want success overnight. They want to make a small effort and get a lot of reward. Easy comes, easy goes. It's too good to be true. That's why you need to work and realizing that the effort to be a giver, to be a creator, to be a person of honor and integrity, the effort pays as long as you believe it pays. Because the moment you believe it pays, you have a line to the endless light. It's called tikva, hope. Hope is not just a delusion. When we're talking about tikva, it's not delusion. It's connecting with having a line to the tree of life, a line to the source of all that is good. And therefore, people that are hopeful and resilient about it, today, when you study what is called the new science of positive psychology, research is showing that people that have hopeful thoughts, they totally make everything right, and they strive moving forward. Whatever happened, it's supposed to happen. And it's good that it happened. Now go and fight with that. People who have that resilience, which means the line of hope, nothing can cut it away. You know, some people are weak. Rabbi Ashlag, the founder of the Kabbalah, modern Kabbalah movement, and I'm rereading from his commentary, he's saying people who are weak, they could have hope and trust, but no resilience. How do we know? Somebody comes to them and says, oh, you'll never be able to make it. Nobody ever did it. And you just lose hope, and you're already convinced. Why should they put the effort? It's not going to work anyway. People who really have success, the people who are really rich, first of all, they're rich mentally. They have what is called positive psychological capital. Their capital is that line that connects them of hope, that connects them to the upper world. Which world? Sfirat Yesod. Sfirat Yesod, the gate for the tree of life. How do you do that? 5 years, 10 years, another 2 years. Joseph does not give up on hope. And he behaves like the hope, the redemption, freedom, success will come any minute. It didn't come. Oh, it didn't come. No, it didn't come because it's not the time yet. It's not the right time yet. I did not develop myself enough to be in that place. I can deal with success. How many stories we know? But people that had an enormous success, but they were too young. They were not ripe yet. And the success really killed them young. Because they were so incapable of dealing with all the fame, the power, the money they got thanks to their success. Basically, they took over and they became victims of their own success. So, we don't want to have success before the time has come. That could be the biggest curse. Because outside, everybody sees you're successful. Deep inside, you're a cheat and a liar. You don't feel successful. Why? Because you're not happy. Because you're always, either you're obsessed with fears of loss, you don't have hope, you're deprived of positivity and that conviction. I'll do my best, and I'm not asking when would that result with overnight success. No, I'm doing my best. I don't know how much trash or negativity do I have to unblock from past lives. Who knows what I did? But I know, and many times it's not something terrible I did in the past. It's simply building my strength. Everybody knows today being successful in business is a matter of a lot of effort, practice, perfect practice. Practice makes perfect. As one of my students in the past said, it's like if you just practice just to get by, that won't get you anywhere. You practice because you have a conviction. What I'm doing right now is tremendously important because I'm building up my success. What is success? That's it. When you have that conviction and that power of to strive and to have faith and to connect, to look for it, you're just building that up. So the Zohar is asking in verse 7, what does it mean Mikkets? At the end of the demise of 2 years, additional years. רבי שמעון אמר, הוא מקום שאין בו זכירה, וזהו קץ של השמאל. This is a place of darkness. This is a place of forgetfulness. This is the place, the extreme place of the left column. מהו הטעם? What is the reason? משום שכתוב כי אם זכרתני איתך כאשר ייטב לך. When Joseph says to the minister of drinks, the wine steward, when you will get back to your position, remember me, because I'm not supposed to be here. Why did he say it? Is that the right thing for Joseph to say? After all of these years, he would fall in such a clumsy, stupid remark? And the answer is, Joseph remembered his dreams about kingship, royalty. When he saw the dream, he said, this is a dream of remembrance. And he made a mistake. It's all in God. Explanation. So Rabbi Ashlag explains to us, כבר ידעת שאין המוחין נשלמים אלא עם ביאת קו אמצעי. We have to understand that it's like today, when you want to connect to a certain source of knowledge, information, whatever, wisdom, you need to download an app. Okay? And the app is making the connection between you and that site that is on the cloud, that is loaded with constructive information. Okay? Fruitful information. However, in order to connect to that site, you need an app. And that app is what allows you to have access to the source of all of this knowledge and wisdom. Okay? And therefore, when Joseph remembered his dream, and he never forgot his dream, that's one of the conditions. That when you have a dream, you don't never forget about this dream. He thought that this dream is a dream that shows about the downloading of the app is complete. He made a mistake by that. We realize, so many people make mistakes. Abraham made a mistake. Jacob made a mistake. Everybody make mistakes. You're human, you make mistakes. Doesn't mean that the good things won't happen. They'll be delayed because you don't get it. Or because you do not get it, you do not function properly. How do you function properly? First of all, המוחין צריך מושלמים. First of all, the app must be downloaded to your system completely. We know downloading an app takes time. So if you download an app to your phone, it can take like a few seconds, maybe a minute or two. Okay? But when you're downloading an app to your brain, to your heart, to your being, that can take for years. And it needs ongoing effort on excelling, transforming, changing, preparing, correcting, making myself ready for my big test. So, and then as Rabbi Ashlag explained to us, we have to understand that that app, which is called Mochin, which is the interface between the supreme light of the Creator and our own system of thought and feeling. If you don't really connect, it doesn't make a difference. Okay? Should make a difference. You need how to learn how to connect. How do you connect to light? How do you connect to electricity? You know, you take a device, you make sure the device is by code, and you plug it in. And then you push a start button. Okay? You probably have the manual, the manufacturer's manual of the device. How do I connect to the network? And that's what the study of the Torah is about. The study of the book of Genesis, the study of the other books of the Torah, it's all about one thing. Fine-tuning, downloading the information, fine-tuning till we get connected to the right frequency of what we really want. So Joseph knew, like all great sages, that these apps, they download very slowly. Joseph, who can be bigger than Joseph? He was stronger than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to go together. They were just like maybe heads of a household in Canaan. Joseph was already running an empire, right? And we know when we see in the physical realm such a great success, we know that's a manifestation of a success in the metaphysical realm. So Joseph realized that app, it's a build-up of information that needs patience. He knew, okay, I'm going to be a king. What I have to go through? I don't know. But I welcome each of these opportunities with open arms. Why? Because God is right. He knows what to give me, what kind of a challenge, what kind of a learning through all the experiences and meeting all of these people and situations. Just think about it. If Joseph was just 17 at his father's home, was he ready to stand in front of Pharaoh and to make Pharaoh say, wow, you are the man. You will run the kingdom through the next, from now on. Joseph was not ready at 17. He was not ready when he was running Potiphar's business. He was not ready when the two ministers had their dream. He was ready 2 years later. So he knew you need to follow the rules. And he knew there are stages. So first of all, you need to create within yourself, says the Zohar, the central column. Because there's always a dispute between the right column and the left column. Why there's a dispute? We all know. Am I taking too much? I'm giving too much. Can I afford giving so much? Can I afford not asking for more? Who doesn't have that? In any relationship, business relationship, personal relationship, always with your spouse, with your kids, with your parents, it's always there. Okay? What would you do first? And also, when we have that, what is called right column, the desire, the need, the drive to give, that can be balanced only with the drive to receive. But we look at the drive to receive as something that is so despicable. So we try to suffocate it. Can you bring success to any system without that synthesis between the drive to give and the drive to get, till you just combine them together into one system? When you give, you know that you get, because you know you're doing it only because that's the way you connect to giving, to the power of giving. And when you receive, you're doing it because you give. You're saying, I'm giving that person, oh God, the pleasure to see me successful because he wants to give it to me so much. That is a very fine thing that to contemplate on. Why? Because when I receive, I want, give me more, give me more. What are you focusing on? Receiving. Receiving in the tree of life, there's no affinity. You're offline. So what should be done? Oh, the desire to receive for the sake of sharing. When we receive the light out of gratitude, we receive the opportunity, we receive the challenge, we receive God's light because we know He wants to share it with us. And that's why we can take it. When we think this way, then there's a pleasure that doesn't go away. It's an everlasting pleasure. So when you do that, you have to remember that Joseph, says the Zohar, Joseph looked at his dreams and he said, that's a dream that is a symbol for revival. Time has come. We're ready. However, he made a mistake. It took 2 more years. Okay, so why 2 more years? Because you had to synthesize the right column, the giving, the loving, the kindness, out of effort, without any reservations. I have to do it, I'm doing it because that's the way I'm connecting to God. At the same time, I'm practical. I'm doing my job. I know that I'm giving, I know that I'm giving because that's the only way to receive. So I develop my belief and trust in myself, being able to reach high. When you have these 2 points that look like two opposite to each other, when you can synthesize them by whatever I give, I know I'm doing it to connect to God. And therefore I give unconditionally. I give service, I give value with my relationships and business, whatever, as I said before. But I know at the same time that I need to receive because God wants to share with me. And without receiving, how could I be alive for a second? So when I'm doing both, the giving and the receiving, and there's no contradiction, it looks harmonious. You know you did the right thing, and you know you connected to Jacob and Joseph. Now Joseph, when he saw the dream, when he heard the dreams of the wine steward and the baker, he could see from that dream that it's about me also. He told them what I needed to hear, but he didn't tell them what he experienced. For him, that was a revelation. And what does it mean? That the Zohar is saying, in order for the mission to be successful, you need to start, as we said, with the right column. Start with the right foot, with giving and offering and so on. But then, knowing that you're doing it as a way to connect to the tree of life. But you know also that the right column wants only loving kindness and chesed, doing good for others. Now we grew up. Now we can activate the left column. Why? Because I know how to use it. I use it in one condition. I use desires, passion. You know what happens? People are very passionate. That will be self-destruction for a lot of people. Very passionate about business and so on, and then the decline, the demise is horrible because it was selfish. But if you have that passion that you can find among the best business people on earth, that passion Otherwise, how did they get to where they get? Passion, desires. But you harness it, like Abraham binding Jacob, Abraham binding Isaac. It's going to be bound by unconditional love. Yes, I want so much power, money, success, whatever, so I can really make a difference for other people. When we don't play with it, we really genuinely connect to it, we reach that place. God cannot say no. How could he say no? Because it's all dependent on us. Because we said, how much endless light is there? Endless. Where is it? There's no place that is not fulfilling it. So, but as you see over there, we have stages. And these stages take time. And we need the patience of building up our abilities to step up and excel. That takes the time. Joseph, he thought that the time has come when he saw the dreams of the wine steward and the baker. He made a mistake. And the result that he stayed for 2 more years in jail because it was not the time, he was not ready. He was not, as he says, he was not ripe, as the Kabbalah is saying. You see a fruit on the tree. Is the fruit good looking all the time? Is it tasty all the time? No, it's not. The fruit has terrible shape, color, shape, and especially taste till it's ripe. Why? To prevent us from eating it before the time has come. So when you see a person that is so engulfed with negativity and selfishness and misery and pain, he's not ripe yet. He's going to be. How long would it take? So for Joseph, it took that amount of years. In that case, in jail, 12 years. That's what he needed. He thought that it's over. He did not realize that the buildup of the central column, the buildup of that righteous power within me takes a while. It can take months and years. And that's why you see some people making an effort day by day, month by month, year by year. And then suddenly, poof, that's when it's ripe, when it's time. We have to understand. A lot of people today, they want everything instantly, immediately. The world doesn't work this way. You're just showing that you are full the moment I want it now. No, it has to take its time. It has to take, the stages must pass by, step by step, till you really can assimilate it inside yourself and you can really feel that you really made a quantum leap. That's about the story of Joseph becoming overnight. When the 2 years are over, Joseph has a dream. He tells the dream to all his warlocks and masters of witchcraft, and they cannot give him the right interpretation. He knows that it's wrong. And only one of them says, I am connected to this guy in jail, Joseph. Bring him over. And they rushed him over. And that overnight success is just happened in the demise of the darkness when we allow things to happen at the time. Why this didn't happen yet? Why? It's like we go around blaming. We're blaming friends, we're blaming the government, we're blaming God, we're blaming. It's not the time yet. You just do your best, God will do the rest. And when the time has come, there's nothing like when the time has come. Remember that. One more thing that I just want to do, Joseph becomes the ruler of Egypt. He has the power, practically. And he's working very hard for 7 years to stack all the fruits of those 7 years before the years of famine come. However, when the years of famine come and people start to come from all over neighboring countries, and he puts guards with description of his brothers, so when the brothers are coming, they will come to him. They will be brought to him. They don't say, nobody knows who's Joseph. They bring the brothers to Joseph. Can you imagine that just coming from a long road, walking, days of walking in the desert from Canaan to Egypt, and now they're being blamed for being spies. And there's an amazing thing I read. You can see it in the commentary of Balaturim. Okay, Balaturim, one of the greatest commentators, like 1,000 years ago, he said that Joseph saw his brothers and he knew them, he recognized them, but he alienated them. He became very alienated to them. He was very hostile to them, and he spoke to. I'm reading Genesis 42, verse 7. And he spoke very hard with them, harsh. Vayomer aleim mi hamayim ba'ad. Where did you come from? He said, we came from the land of Canaan to bring food. And then he says again, and Joseph recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And he remembered his dreams. And he says to them, you are spies. You came to see the weakness of the land so you can rob the land. He said, not at all. Why did he behave like this to them? And the answer is, Balaturim is saying, Bikesh lekablam b'sefer panim yafot. He wanted to welcome them with excitement and happiness. Finally, I see you guys. Thanks to you, I am the king. And more than that, these are the people who hated me, wanted me to be killed or be enslaved. I am a king right now. Guys, I am a king. Look what happened. My dreams came true. It was very hard, it's very hard for somebody like this. You see your brothers, they were against you. You want to show them the trophy, you got it. No. How come? He wanted to be excited about seeing them. ובא המלאך שמצאו טועה והזכירו. The angel, it says when he was looking for them, he came to Shechem, he couldn't find them. And there was a person that approached him and said, what are you looking for? And he says, I'm looking for my brothers. Who was that? And he said, they went to Dotan, go over there. They're waiting for you. That was an angel. And he says the same angel told him that. What did he tell them? Really, he told them? The angel was Gabriel. And he told Joseph, they have to go also through a process. You cannot do that for them. So when he blamed them as spies, when he pushed them to go back and bring Benjamin, when he brought them to that place in which Benjamin was caught stealing, and he was supposed to be executed, or being a slave to the king. And finally, Yehuda is the one who stepped up and says, on my dead body. What he didn't do when he was supposed to do it when the brothers wanted to kill Joseph and to sell him as a slave. He didn't do that then. Being spiritual, being practical is knowing that things need to go through the process. You cannot do it for somebody else. He was not able to say, welcome my brothers, it's over. All of that pain you went through since you sold me, it's over. I'm here. No, for him, it was over. For them, it was not over yet. So not just knowing that it's right for us, sometimes it's the most painful as a parent, a friend, somebody's going through hardship. You cannot do it for them. They need to reach the idea, the knowing. how to deal with it by themselves. You can inspire them, you cannot do it for them. That's the secret of real, true success. That's the secret of really knowing how to connect to Sfirat Yesod, which is a real, the key, the opening for success and well-being. Thank you so much.